Your leading stories this morning. Police are on a manhunt for 4 unknown suspects who allegedly shot and wounded a security officer during a cash and transit heist at Bridge City Mall in Kwamashu, north of Durban. Thousands of people are preparing to take to the streets in Hong Kong to oppose a proposed extradition law which could allow the Chinese authorities to target political enemies in the territory. And as the frontrunners push well past the halfway point at Drummond in the Comrades Marathon, athletes will rely heavily on mental strength to push their bodies across the finish line. Well, that's your headlines this morning, but you're probably wondering why I keep playing with this ball of wool, but the story is coming soon. The 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day celebrate their 6th year of knitting the country together in warm displays around the country by creating magical moments for Mandela. We're joined now in studio by Carolyn Steyn, who is the founder of 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela, and Pastor Maureen Sibadela, who is the Soweto Ambassador for 67 Blankets. Ladies, thank you so much and welcome, and thanks for bringing us such a heartwarming story, especially it's starting to get cold. Have you felt it?
Yes, absolutely. So we are making blankets, as you can see, in a very hurried manner.
Do you ever stop?
No, we don't. You know, I always say 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day does not sleep. We don't wait until July 18th to distribute blankets because people get cold before July 18th, Mandela Day. And so we distribute throughout the year whenever there's need. But before I continue with our wonderful story of good wool, I have to put this around you, if I may, because this is our proudly South African.
It's our country colours, so why not?
Scarf, created by our ambassador
Caroline.
in White River, Mpumalanga, Christine Simalali. I mean, amazing. So we give these to people like yourself to carry our 67 banner all around the world. So
but you know what's awesome
pride.
about what you just done? It gave me a sense of how other people feel when you give them blankets, because I just got a warm and fuzzy feeling as you were putting it over me.
Well, that's what we're about. So on the other day, we went with Pastor Maureen to her community in Soweto. She introduced us to an old aged home, an orphanage, and we distributed hundreds of blankets to people in need. Yeah. But let Pastor Maureen tell us about it.
I think we have pictures of what happened during the week, and I'm going to ask our producers to put them up. Pastor Maureen, tell us about your work, what you do.
What we do in the community, I take care of elderly people, and we are in Protea, but we are taking care of all the elderly that are in South Africa. So the 67 Blankets have brought the warmth to elderly. What we did last week, we went to Soweto Home for the old elder person. We went and covered them with these blankets and showed them the warmth of 67 Blankets for Mandela. Yeah. And it was so amazing. It was so amazing because when we were with those grannies, everyone's like, give me a blanket, give me a blanket.
Everybody loves a blanket,
everybody loves a blanket. And the nicest thing about it, everyone wants to know how to make them. And especially in an old age home, some of them, you'll find them sitting there in those chairs like they are bored. It can keep them busy.
Oh, wow.
So it not only covers you to feel the warmth, it also assists you in your mind. As you're sitting there, it's part of a therapy.
Who are your knitters?
Yeah, we've got
She's got amazing
group
knitters.
Of lots of
hundreds of ladies that crochet. I think there's a man that I saw the other day there as well.
Yeah.
If he hasn't learned how to crochet, it's time.
He has
because
learned.
Real men knit, real men crochet, and that's what it's about. As you know, and you were with us at Zonderwater Maximum Correctional Centre last year.
I followed you everywhere, but
where we laid out the largest portrait blanket in the world depicting the face of Nelson Mandela. Directly after that, and you know that was so big. It was only seen from the sky.
So the portrait blanket was a huge project, but you also had that project at the Union Buildings. What can we expect this year?
Okay, so this year we decided not to do our event in April because it's already cold. At the end of March, we did events, big events, magical moments for Mandela all around South Africa. So our ambassadors all around the country
part of the
created
images we have, or
I'm not sure if we've got those images, but if you go to our website www.67blankets.co.za, you'll see those magnificent pictures all around our country. Displays of goodwill, and I promise you you directly after these massive activations, these displays that are just so splendiferous. The blankets get distributed immediately, making every day a Mandela Day.
You have been asked this question so many times, and I'm going to ask it again. What's the benefit of giving people blankets? I need to put this back because I'm starting to make it sort of like a crutch for me.
But can you see, isn't this amazing? Our own wool, we're having our own wool, 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day.
Stunning.
With our partner, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and with our mission statement, we are like really like, and we've gone global, which is amazing. So what was the question?
What people benefit from getting blankets, but I also have a follow-up question to ask you. Do you have any indication on how this particular project has impacted the wool production
Oh yes,
sector?
they love us.
Yeah.
The wool companies love us. We had a meeting with a man from Kismet Yarns the other day who's come up with this, who said that 67 blankets has changed the wool industry. You know, South Africa last year, when we did our massive Mandela masterpiece, you know, we had to use grey wool, black wool, and the colours of our flag. South Africa ran out of grey wool twice in the year, which is just amazing. Who would think?
How awesome is that?
Yeah. So we've done wonders for the wool industry, and I think we've ignited so much passion in so many people. You know, so knitting has become, and crochet has become, the new yoga. Pastor Maureen said something about the health benefits of crochet and knitting. Yes, if you Google
mental benefits for senior citizens as well.
You know,
Pastor Maureen, what is exciting for the people that you tend to about this project?
You know what is more exciting is, you know, sometimes when you just do whatever you do on your daily basis, sometimes you need love. And when you put on this blanket, you feel that warmth, you feel love. And when you start crocheting, you start imagining better things in your mind, and it releases the mind. And what I realized with the older person, they even involve their young person, like the youth. Our youth nowadays are no longer like the youth we were before. We used to go to schools where there were handworks. There's no more handworks at school
anymore.
And most of the kids are busy with the gadgets. They're busy on phones, websites, and Facebook, all that. But you know, when they do the crocheting, when we involve them in this, they like teach us how to do it. We went to the orphanage at Otandweni on the same day, Carolyn, and the kids there, they were so excited. They said, please teach us how to do it. Just teach us how to do it. And you can imagine those kids, it takes them away from those environment and where they come from, and it just makes them to focus, and they can see that as much as they do this, it also helps other people, because it doesn't only end in your hands, from my hands to another person. So it's touch one, touch the whole world with the crocheting.
Absolutely. And getting the blankets around, I have to say, Stutterford Van Lines, because for the past 6 years, Stutterford Van Lines has transported thousands of blankets to and fro across our beautiful country, free of charge. They have asked for nothing in return, and they have just been the most incredible partner.
Would you have thought when you started that there would be such a buy-in into this project?
No, seriously, the truth is, the challenge was for me to make 67 blankets by Mandela Day 2014. It was shortly after the passing of Madiba at my husband's birthday lunch. Zelda was there. She presented me with a challenge, and I must tell you, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get 67 blankets in time for Mandela Day 2014. And then we were written into the script of generations, and then people like yourself, the media, have been amazing. Blankets started piling up in our dining room, piling up.
Are you chasing any more records now?
Well, we've done 5 Guinness World Records in 5 years.
Yes.
I think we've kind of got all the records that we're able to get. But you know, you never know.
So what is it about now?
It's about going back.
What makes you wake up and continue?
Okay, continuing to do what we do. We are knitting our lives together. So every single day we get out of bed with a purpose. There are people that need to be kept warmer. That's what we are about. We make there's the union buildings. You were there. That was something else. So basically it's twofold. We are knitting our lives together. We're knitting our nation together. We're knitting nations together. And as a result of these big activations,
that's
such
a very
as union
important
buildings,
message for South Africans.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you ever sit and ponder about the importance of that knitting of our lives together?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? It took some time for me to realize the enormity of what we are doing.
Of this gesture.
Yeah. It's been the biggest gift that has ever been given to me, this challenge, because it has changed my life 360 degrees. I get out of bed every day with a purpose. I now no longer have time to go and have lunch with friends or go shopping. You know, it's about going into communities, going into squatter camps, going into orphanages, old age homes, holding hands with Pastor Maureen and people like her to make a difference in our country, stitch by stitch, in the name of Madiba.
What do you do in your work as an ambassador for 67 blankets, Pastor Maureen?
What I do, we're actually spreading love. People nowadays, they lack love. There is no one that loves them. And even in your own home, sometimes you do so much for others, but there's nothing that comes back to you. And we sometimes preach about love so much, but you really don't really get love.
So this is love in action.
This is love in action. Because if I go to somebody who has been going through the floods and I bring this, I might say to the person, I don't have money, I don't have food for you, but I'm bringing warmth. Somewhere somebody had thought about you and knitted something for you, and we want to knit your life together with us. If we are knitting this together, we are knitting our lives together.
And of course, you're always encouraging other people to also do this in their space.
Definitely.
What can people do?
And it's such an easy thing to do. You know, a lot of people self-fund their wool. It's not that expensive, and certainly our new wool, when it comes onto the market, is going to be very well priced. But the call for when I went to visit her ladies the other day, they
Look
shout
at how excited
out.
you are.
but we want wool. We want wool. Well, I also want wool, because there's so much demand. So many people who have got the will who do not have the wool. So the call is, you know, to your viewers, if there's anybody out there who has the good wool to give wool, that's essentially what we need.
Okay.
For the communities that want to participate.
We were talking earlier about how this work has impacted the wool production sector. But the other sector it has impacted is the creative sector. You show every now and again on social media your beautiful blankets, some of them are different faces of Mandela, but they've also started to create other images. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. You know, I am just a normal, I do my granny square, that's it. But there are artists in our group, our family of thousands of 67 Blankets members that create the most extraordinary, and I want to slap myself for not bringing a particular scarf into studio with the face of Mandela. There's no pattern for it. There's a lady by the name of Ishmael, I forget her name, but create the most beautiful Mandela scarves. And of course, the stitches that people create. There's the wonderful young man by the name of Junior who just turned 13. I taught him how to crochet. I met him at the Union Buildings. He's created
13 years old.
works of art, and I should have brought those in as well. But if you go to our
There's
Facebook,
never enough, I imagine.
If you go to our Facebook group, 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day SA, we are all over the world. You can see the amazing work that people, you know, create, and I find it just so beautiful that people just give, you know, and sometimes they don't put their name to it, anonymously, and I think that is really true goodwill. That's true charity and philanthropy.
I know I've asked you already, but I don't think we got to that fully. But Pastor Maureen, you can also come in here and tell us what your plans are for the actual day in July.
Our plans is to make sure that, you know, when the president was making the speech, he said there shouldn't be a child that goes to bed without food.
He did.
We are saying there shouldn't be a child that goes without a blankie. We want to make sure that in orphanages they've got blankets. The kids that are on the street, we might not be able to know where they are, under the bridges or wherever, but we are saying, South Africa, help us to make sure that this winter no child goes to bed without a blanket.
Where do people provide that wool that you're asking for, Carolyn?
Well, a lot of our nitwits from Madiba do provide their own wool. So we were very fortunate 2 years ago to receive a donation of 14 million rands worth of wool.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again.
14 million rands worth of wool. So we were able to distribute all around the country.
How much wool that is.
Let me tell you, we've got a garage. It is big. Have you been to our garage? If you haven't, you must come and see it. Yeah. It's a factory. And so we were able to distribute to the prisons around the country, to our nitwits from Madiba all around the country. Yeah. And that's what enabled us to get our Guinness World Record for the largest crochet blanket in the world, which we did at Steyn Correctional Centre just across the road, involving hundreds and hundreds of inmates, some of them serving life sentences, who are making blankets for communities on the outside whose lives have been affected by crime and poverty. And they talk about knitting their broken lives together, knitting together broken trusts with 67 blankets, finding their humanity again. Yes, and we're coming out with a book this year, so I'm very excited about that. A beautiful coffee table book.
I just worry that when we have a conversation like this and somebody watching us and we're talking about such big amounts and people are thinking, people are going hungry.
Yes.
People are going without education. People are going without jobs. How do you manage to stick to your focus when there's all these other noises in the background?
Yeah, we get those noises, but you know what? I'm a single individual trying to make a difference. Now, I've chosen to do blankets. Other people need to choose, and they do, to do food and medicine and etc.
Because you don't want to be all over the place as well.
I don't have enough time in the day to now go and work in a soup kitchen or start a soup kitchen. You know, so we are about blankets. Once a year we venture out into our scarf drive, which is happening on July 9th all around the country, where people will be walking home from work and they'll see these like winter wonderlands of scarves hanging from trees with a love note saying, I am not lost. If you're cold and need me, please take me. Love, 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day.
What?
Kiss, kiss, kiss. So people are free to just take a scarf if they need a little bit of warmth.
Take for another person.
So that's our one little side venture.
Goosebump stuff.
You know, and of course, when we do go into communities, like I did with Pastor Maureen the other day, we did take food as well. But our essential focus, we can't be so divided. We did take food, we took cakes, we took milli meal, etc., etc.
But just on the realism side, when you are going cold face to these places where there's a need and you're delivering your blankets, what are your thoughts about what you see, the poverty and the lack?
Yeah, it's tragic what I see out there. When I go to Diepsloot, when I go to Soweto, when I go to Mpumalanga, and I go into those areas where the people have got nothing. It's incredibly, incredibly disturbing, and it should not be happening. So we can point fingers in many directions, but I think we need to turn to people like myself, like Pastor Maureen, like yourself. If we each do a bit, play our part, I think our country could be a very different place in which to live.
The last project we went to at Zonderwater prison was something you were collaborating with the Department of Justice on. Which other government departments do you collaborate with on which projects?
When we did the union buildings, we collaborated with Department of Arts and Culture, with Minister Natyam Tetwa, who was there, very, very supportive. Right now, we're not really collaborating with any government departments. But we're open to suggestion. You know, if anybody out there, Department of Social Development, Education, because we're in a lot of the schools as well, and it makes a difference. You know, Jeppe High School for Girls, my school, they are knitting away like crazy. It's quite beautiful.
Ladies, thank you so much for coming through and providing all the warmth. And all the best for July.
Enjoy.
It's going to be a busy month. Do you have a calendar for July?
We do. I have my assistant who's standing across the way here, who's got the calendar.
Okay.
July is
Of the
always
events.
our busiest month.
Stunning. Thank you so much. What a beautiful story. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pastor Maureen. Let's take a break.